Nutrition for beginners. You're probably here because you've realized that whether you want to lose weight, gain muscle, or just get healthier, nutrition is going to be an important part of that process. So, today we're going to cover what are calories, why do we care, and how to modify them to achieve that goal. Then we'll get into protein. What is it? Where do we get it? Why do we care? And go on to fats and carbohydrates. Where do we get them? Why do we care? And what do they do for us? Calories are the energy that you get from food. So they're not evil, but you do need to keep track of them. More energy than you need results in stored energy. Your body stores that as body fat. It's not evil, it's a necessary part of survival. Now, you engage in too much extra energy, you wind up with a lot of body fat. That can be bad. But body fat is basically a battery. So, if you don't put in more than you need, your body will resort to the batteries to get what it needs to function. So it's a very simple process to reduce body fat. You eat less than you burn. Thus, weight loss is achieved. Building muscle mass is slightly different. It's not just a matter of calories. You need specific nutritional requirements met so that your body can build muscle tissue. You also need a proper stimulus. Your body has to realize that the only way to survive is to get stronger, get bigger. That stimulus comes from weight training. Protein is a very important macronutrient. That's how you rebuild your muscles. Protein is the nutrition required to build muscle mass and to repair damaged muscle mass. Your body is constantly breaking down your muscles and building them back up. That is why you have a daily protein requirement, even if you're not currently weight training. You need protein to survive. It is an essential nutrient. Now, 1 gram of protein is made up of 9 essential amino acids. Meat gives you all 9. Very few plants give you all 9. Pea protein is probably the most popular of those that give you all 9. The rest of the plants that claim to have protein in them typically only have some of those 9 essential amino acids. You have to put complementary proteins together. Best example, rice and beans. Together they have a complete amino acid profile. So it is much more efficient to eat meat. If that's a no-go for you, you got to find your complementary proteins. There are 4 calories to 1 gram of protein. And protein is highly satisfying. So it's very easy, if you're trying to lose weight, to eat a high protein diet and you won't be so hungry for snacks. Carbohydrates are a very easy fuel source for your body. It doesn't take as much to break it down, turn it into energy. Also, it doesn't take as much to break it down, turn it into stored energy. Carbohydrates are the only macronutrient that are not essential for survival. But I like to say they're essential for sanity. Going without carbohydrates is painful. Literally. You will get headaches, all kinds of discomfort as your body switches fuel sources. Just because it's not essential doesn't mean it's a good idea to completely cut it out of your nutrition plan. Sources of carbohydrates: fruits, vegetables, grains. So your carbohydrates get broken into two categories: simple carbs and complex carbs. All that refers to is how much work your body has to do to break it down. Sugar, very simple. Your body can process that almost immediately. Fiber, your body can't actually process. So anything with a high fiber content tends to be labeled a complex carb, because that slows down the absorption of the sugar. But carbohydrates, plain and simple, are a fuel source. Highly effective. That's why you see powerlifters eating a bunch of sugary snacks while they're lifting. They just need a little extra fuel. It goes through your body real quick, so you don't have to, wait for your tummy to settle. Now, if you're trying to gain weight, gain muscle mass, guess what you're going to need a whole lot of? Fuel. Yeah. Simple carbs make it real easy. Don't neglect your fruits and vegetables in favor of all the sugary snacks just to hit your calories. You don't want to be a blimp. You want to be jacked, right? Fats. The other F word. Fats are not evil. You actually need them to survive. You cannot eat zero fat without negative side effects. So, fats have essential fatty acids within them. Essential means your body can't make them. You have to eat them. You can get these essential fatty acids from meat, nuts, and then I guess the other fat sources are like seeds and whatever you call avocados. Fats get such a bad reputation because there are 9 calories per gram of fat. For those keeping track, that's double protein, a little more than double. And if I hadn't already said it, there's 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates as well. So you're getting a lot more calories per gram of fat. So it's easy to get too much, especially because it tastes so good. That's why everyone restricts fat in their diet when they're trying to lose weight. Perfectly fine. It's the most efficient way to cut your calories, but there is a limit. The book definition of the minimum is 10% of your total daily calories. So if you're getting 2,000 calories, at least 200 of those need to come from fat. So that's not a whole lot of fat. So it's pretty easy to get your minimum as long as you're eating real food. Trans fats are always bad because they're not real food. They're lab-made monstrosities. Every other type of fat is real food. Yes, saturated fat, real food. You can eat it. And like everything else, portion makes the poison. If you eat too much of that, yeah, there's negative side effects. There's a too much for everything. Be normal. Eat like a human being instead of like a robot. You can't just find every box in the grocery store that says healthy or low fat and just eat that for the rest of your life. It's not going to work. You need to eat real food. And it gets real easy when you start doing that. Chicken, rice, and vegetables, pretty low on fat, so you got to add a little. That's a very standard meal for me. I'll add some olive oil to the rice, maybe throw some avocado and make a whole little burrito bowl out of it. Delicious. And it's easy to get the nutrition I need if I eat just like that. Or I replace the chicken with steak if I have the fat in my my plan that day. Maybe if rice is too high on carbohydrates, I'll swap for potatoes. Easy. Back to fats. Fats are not bad for you. You need them. You just need to be careful because it's easy to get too much. That's it. That's the whole story. You got to figure fats are high in calories. So that's the reason to be cautious, not because fats are bad for you. Long-winded, but I wanted to get the message across. Most common question I get, how much do I eat? Or how much protein? How much fat? Well, not an easy answer because everybody's body is a little different. If you have a very sedentary job, well, you're not going to burn nearly as many calories as somebody working construction. So there is a way to calculate how much your body burns on any given day. Then you can calculate any extra activity like weightlifting, because you should be. So in the comment section, or in the description box, there's going to be a link to where you can calculate your daily calorie expenditure. From there, you have to modify it to suit your goals. Now that's the calorie part. What about protein, carbs, and fats? Well, I'm going to give you where I started, because it's not what I eat now, and then it's going to be up to you and whether you hire a nutritionist to customize it to yourself. I'll put that in the description box, but essentially what I did was I got my body weight right now, 240 pounds, and then set my protein in grams to the same amount. So 240 grams of protein. So 1 pound per gram of protein. Make it equal. Then I filled in the rest. This was not the most efficient way to do it, but this is how I figured out, what was going to work for me. That's all we're doing. There's 101 ways to make this work. The trick is finding the one way that works for you. Nobody told me that, so I had to make it up as I went along. So start there. Set your protein. That's going to be your most important. Whether you're gaining or losing, set the protein there. Now, the rest of your calories that you've already calculated. You need to subtract, 4 times your protein, because that's how many calories are in a gram of protein, 4 calories per gram, remember? So 4 times 240, not doing math. Subtract that amount out of your total calories for the day. That's the rest. That's the rest that you have for carbohydrates and fats. Now, you're very quickly going to learn the more carbohydrates you have, the lower fat options you get, and the more fat you have, the less carbohydrates you get to eat. So, volume of food wise, higher carbs is better. But if you can't abide by that, you got to make some compromises. So, that's where I started. And I was quite round. I was not strong. But that was a good starting point for me. So, consider that the starting line. You have to make adjustments to suit your goals. So, you're trying to lose weight, you can increase activity and or reduce food. If you're already eating more than that calorie counter said that you burn in a day, you're going to have to make some adjustments, aren't you? So, just start with meeting the calorie counter. Do what you can so that your activity and food intake matches the calories for your daily expenditure. That's going to change over time. You got to check back on that. But start there. You might start losing weight right away. Ride that out. Do what you can. And then from there, start making adjustments in 250 calorie increments. That is a general statement. If you're only eating 1,200 calories a day, that's a major adjustment. Also, you got to be pretty small to be doing that. So double check your numbers. Now, you want to gain weight. This is not a license to go eat everything in sight. You are not on the seafood diet. You're trying to gain weight for a purpose, I assume. You want to be jacked and tan. You got a competition. You just want to be super strong, so you've got to get bigger. All right. Fat mass is not as helpful as muscle mass. Doesn't mean it's not helpful. So we want to prioritize the muscle mass. The extra fat mass can get in the way. If you're an equipped powerlifter, you're not watching this video. So you got to find that compromise. What are you willing to put up with? Are you willing to put up with excess fat that you can trim off later? All right. You can put an extra 500 calories on your daily expenditure. Enjoy. If you're not willing to cut that excess fat later, you got to make a smaller jump. Start with 250 calories. Try to gain slowly. Muscle mass takes a very, very long time to accumulate. I think last I checked the numbers, your general idea, best bet, was half a pound a week. And that's not a half a pound of muscle. That's like a half a pound of weight gain. And you might get like a 60-40 muscle mass to fat ratio. There are ways to optimize that. That's not the scope of this video. So you're trying to gain muscle. You need to eat more calories than you burn. You cannot eat less and then gain muscle mass. There are like very, very few exceptions to that rule. If you want to get athletic, if you want to look muscular, guess what? You got to gain some muscle mass. You got to eat a surplus. Back to how much you each. Start with your protein. Fill in from there. So, find what works for you. Play with it. Make it work. Something beyond calories and macronutrients, your micronutrients, so your electrolytes, all your vitamins. If you're eating a diverse selection of foods, you probably don't have to worry too much. You want to make sure you're getting enough iron, enough vitamin D. Those are common ones that people are deficient on. But that's, any vitamin or, regular supplement is going to take care of that for most people. If you have any medical reason to supplement, then all of this needs to go through a nutritionist or a licensed dietitian, preferably. If you have an actual medical situation that alters your nutritional needs, stop looking at YouTube. Go hire a medical professional. I am not a medical professional. I am an ACSM certified personal trainer who does a lot of his own education. So all of my nutrition knowledge, I read it myself. If you have medical needs beyond the regular person, go get yourself a medical professional. If you're a regular person, you're just trying to get jacked and tan, a little more healthy, or maybe compete in a sport, well, I'm here to help. That's all I got for today, guys. Be well and be strong. Catch you next time.